Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Today is the biggest Chair Powell day of the year. It's the second biggest. Today we will get the FOMC minutes from last month. Basically, we will get the inside notes, the reasoning, the logic, and we tend to get a little bit extra background information on why the Fed did what the Fed did in January. January at this point feels like half a year ago, so you probably don't remember. I had to look it up myself. What happened at the FOMC in January this year? There's just been so many other events, I mean, even events going on as of today that are more gripping and more compelling. And so this is already in our hindsight. But let's go over this because those notes are out in just 30 minutes. So let's get a little background. The last meeting, or the first one of 26, the Fed chose to make no change on the interest rate decision. This was holding the rate steady at 3.5 to 3.75%. This was a beginning of the pausing of the interest rate cuts, the interest rate cut cycle that we saw happen in late 25. There were two dissenting members, basically one looking for, I think it was 25 BPS, and one looking for maybe like a 50, I don't know. There was only 2 out of 13 voting members that were not in agreement with holding rates steady. The Fed said that economic activity was holding at a steady pace. Job gains were low, despite unemployment remaining at about 4.4%. That does show some signs of stabilization. This was actually before the revision in the job numbers from 25. It really shows you how BS of a statistic unemployment is when you look at 1 million lost jobs last year and then you say, oh, unemployment's at 4%. That's very much intentionally not telling the whole story. Let's be real. Uncertainty. They commented on uncertainty and they said that it remained elevated and potentially the outlook was to have an increase in uncertainty and kind of turmoil ahead into this year. And the committee was, of course, committed to their 2% inflation and maximum employment dual mandate, as they always say. The 26 economy entered on a firm footing. There was resilient consumer spending, expanding business investment, labor market conditions stabilized after a period of softening, slow job growth partially reflected lower labor force growth, and realistically, slow job growth and employment growth makes total sense. With AI moving in, immigration issues, deportations, there's a lot of jobs that are vacant yet moving away. I don't know. The whole job market is in a little bit of turmoil. Growth prospects. I think this was kind of important. Is growth prospects increased since that December meeting, and that's what the Fed was looking at. The Fed was basically saying the economy looks good with what they're doing in the monetary policy and that further cuts were not needed yet. We didn't get an update to the dot plot. I'm not really sure why. I guess they don't do it every time. I'll have to look. We didn't get an update, so the projections from the Fed members likely remaining about what they were or where they were in the December meeting. And that was, off the top of my head, it was like maybe looking at 25 to 50 BPS cuts at the totality of this year. So similar to last year, probably at the end of the year, or at least post Powell. That was maybe the biggest thing that went on during the meeting in January, is that it was Powell's third to last. He has 2 more FOMCs as the chair. And a lot of the questions kind of revolved around that. That was different. It was different. It was maybe the most boring FOMC we've had in a while. Maybe that's why there's not a bajillion people here right now. We'll see. The questions were like all things he couldn't answer or kind of about his tenureship and his chairmanship. There wasn't a lot of price activity, not a lot of volatility in the market at the time. We didn't really see Bitcoin or stocks or gold or the dollar move too drastically. And so what we can infer from that is markets saw this coming. Markets were not seeing a mix-up, no real change in plans here for the year. Everything potentially, though, could be changed once May comes around and Powell is no longer the chair. I don't believe we have a locked-in chair replacement yet. Maybe we'll check like Polymarket and see what the numbers were. I know we were looking at Warsh, but I mean, until it's confirmed, I think it's kind of silly to kind of pick up each name that's dropped at this point. Markets did widely expect the hold. Futures are still looking to price in about 25 BPS cuts in this year. That fits the Fed's projection. There's not a lot. It was not the biggest. It was the biggest, most important FOMC of this year, but it was the only one. But there wasn't a lot of change. There wasn't a lot of talk about quantitative easing or tightening. The Fed balance sheet, that would probably be a good follow-up here. What happened with the Fed balance sheet? Watch your screens. I'm going to put some non-black on. It's too late. Now you're blind. The Fed balance sheet, though they committed to ending quantitative tightening in December of last year, the effects really have not been felt. This is the balance sheet of the Fed, and when it is moving down, we are quantitative tightening, and when the balance sheet is moving up, we are in a period of quantitative easing. And so actually at the December meeting, we do see a reversal on this chart. It isn't very impressive. It's not a very big one. That's what she said. But we do see a reversal nonetheless. It did bottom out here. And we have seen a very slow, it's almost like not even really an uptrend. But we do see a reversal. We do see this balance sheet trending up, and that is some quantitative easing. Now, it did pull back into January, probably for maturity dates of assets. I'm not really sure. And that's slowly moved back to the end of year high. Hopefully into this quarter, we see that high broken and we see real quantitative easing happening. It really is moving slowly. The interesting thing to note is typically when we do see quantitative easing, it's during a period of distress or crisis. And sometimes they tend to front run, I guess, those periods, as we saw this begin in August of 2019. September of 2019. Before the COVID crash, and of course that went just absolutely bonkers during the COVID crash. We see these in periods where things are uncertain. We don't typically see these big moves during periods of stability or during periods of solid economic outlook. So we probably should either be looking for a slow, Jeez, Fed, your website's terrible. A slow period of a decreasing balance sheet. Did I just get this off? No, I'm good. A slow period of increasing balance sheet, or potentially some kind of crazy black swan, some kind of global issue. Speaking of which, I'm not going to get into politics of it, but it seems that we might be at the cusp of something just like that, seemingly this morning. I'm not even going to take a real swing at the topic because, God, I'm just gonna sound stupid. But basically, the global conflict, something about Iran, global conflict, China, Russia, now the U.S. Maybe the Fed balance sheet pricing it in again. Markets tend to know these things somehow before everybody else does. They're magical. Down we go. Yep. So markets, at least Bitcoin, not looking so hot. We do have 15, 20 minutes still until these notes are out. Markets, let's start with Bitcoin, stuck in a bear flag. I'll say still largely in this bear flag right now, breaking down into these notes coming out. Likely unrelated. There is almost certainly nothing in the notes that's going to have anything to do with Bitcoin or really be a surprise to Bitcoin. But nonetheless, it is continuing its sideways move after falling down to 60,000, as we're all familiar with. Everyone in the world waiting for Bitcoin to trade lower. Bitcoin is saying, hold your horses, buddy. I'm just going to slowly flag out here. Now, this is a bearish pattern. This does look like a bear flag. On our last analyses, we discussed a potential play on this being looking for a first break. I will say that neither break has happened at this point. Largely, our highs are coming down, our lows are coming up, and price is tightening. The potential move or play that we talked about was a fake break, meaning the first move, really. I believe we're going to get a fake break. If we see a move to the downside out of this flag, likely we're going to look for a reversal. We're going to look for a strong or sharp reversal. The opposite is true, and this is probably what most people are expecting at this point. Some kind of move or break to the upside where the bear flag is behind us, and, well, sellers come in and we continue lower. Neither has happened. We might see this happen today. I don't think so, but we might. As this hourly candle is pushing it down, I don't think there is a lot of change. This is wild. We drew this like initially, and it's still just slowly following the doodle. Nothing has really changed here. We left Bitcoin about this price, and here it is, still at about this price. Coming down 66.2 of the low here on Thursday, 65,000. Breaking 65, obviously looking for either that fake break to the downside or for the bear flag to resolve. The daily candles looking like crap. Nothing really changed here. Not a lot of hopium in the chart. Momentum even potentially looking for another leg down. Money flow, VWAP accompanying it. Buyers just not stepping in. The bid's not there. Wow. Look at that. 20 daily moving average flying down. Holy shit. The average is already under 71.5. That's remarkable. Remarkable. It seems like lower numbers are to come, right? We have our 200-day moving average below us, still untested. Right here. 58.3. Our awesome trend line hanging out at about the same price. Seems like the whole market and everyone involved in it is waiting for lower. How are you guys feeling? Feeling lower? Feeling higher? Maybe you can feel higher in different ways. We have 10 more days in this awful freaking February. We are now almost, now we're halfway through on the day through Q1 of this year. And it's been not a great one. Not the best Q1. Down 25% since the year opened, 25-ish% in Q4 of last year. The only thing that looks okay on this quarterly is, well, you're retesting this support here. Maybe you've held it. It's a hard sell. So Bitcoin, obviously not in the best position. Potentially waiting for that breakdown for lower numbers. And what are other markets doing? Of course, gold is rubbing it in our faces. Honestly, in many ways, similar to Bitcoin, not a lot has happened on gold. Gold has really been in the same range it's been in. Seems like February really quickly tapped out its lows, and markets are just kind of stuck in between the end of the January high and the February open dump. Gold looking better than Bitcoin with its higher lows here. This is not the most confident building kind of pattern going on here in the last few days, but comparatively, I'll say stronger than Bitcoin. Finding resistance at 5,100 still. Not doing anything. Where is the spice? I think the spice is on the ocean right now. How's your month looking? Gold's fighting to keep that green monthly here. Close about 4,900 will be a green close again for gold on the month. And that will mark its 4th, 6th, 7th green month in a row. F you, gold. No, I'm just kidding. Congrats to everybody out there who's holding the shiny yellow rocks. The shiny white rocks, not doing quite as good, but still, congrats to you. Likely you're up pretty well. Silver, I'll say more in the boat of Bitcoin at the moment. Now, it has held its low. We do have a higher low. We could see this play out in reverse. I haven't seen the strength yet from markets to really believe it, but silver not in that same uptrend from the low. Arguably, even still in a downtrend, its highs continuously lower. Its lows actually, like I said, not broken, but its highs lower. And bulls seeming to kind of be gassed here. What is this? Stotch RSI and RSI overlapped for some reason. Silver, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks of red. Man, I like when numbers go up. I need to just invert the colors and invert the charts and just like be a bear. But then I can be bullish because things are going up even though they're going down. Silver actually on a red month. That is the distinction, the clarification. Gold still trading green. Silver red under 85, and it does seem to be struggling around that level. 85, where are we at? Yeah, right here. Our kind of failed high. No, our failed high off of the lower low in February, right off that monthly open. Not a good sign. I would love for silver's run not to be done right now, but it doesn't look good. It may just be another 6 months of winters. 6 months till spring, something. Maybe some sideways action to cool off indicators is just what gold and silver need to continue the year strong, to see continued rallies into the end of 26. With what's going on right now in the world, it seems almost impossible that gold and silver and safety assets are not the choice. Seems like that's what everyone's probably running to. How your mom is looking? How's your mom looking, Pooch? I hope she's doing wonderfully. Hope your mother is doing wonderfully. All of your mothers doing wonderfully. Isn't Mother's Day coming up here? Isn't that in February? No, in March. March. Don't forget your moms. Moms are the best. If my mom's watching, I love you, Mom. You are the best. And I definitely know when Mother's Day is. Don't, I didn't forget. Okay. Watch your screens again. We're going to flash over. We have less than 10 minutes until the FOMC minutes are published. And we'll go over them live together with our help from our artificial assistants. Today we had some numbers come in, and actually yesterday as well, right? Not for the U.S. U.S. Empire State Manufacturing Index. So New York coming in at a 7.1, forecasted 6.7, and previous 7.7. I don't really know why that's red. It is technically like a miss on the forecast, but isn't up good. Level of a diffusion. Actual less than forecast is good for crypto. I wonder why that would be. I wonder why that says that. It's a leading indicator of economic health. Maybe, I don't know. I wouldn't trust it being red or green here, but that looks like a hit. That looks like a positive for the economy on crypto there. Today we have U.S. building permits coming in slightly higher. I'd say arguably, it doesn't really matter. Slightly higher than forecast, slightly higher than previous. Oh, the November data. Why in the hell did we get November data? I don't know. Why would anyone trust like data that's months old now? It feels weird. U.S. I guess came in about the same. U.S. durable good orders up 3 times above forecast. Core durable goods up 3 times above forecast, and then U.S. durable goods, so not core goods, down 1.4%. Previous 5.4%. These numbers seem fucky. U.S. industrial production up. And that's about it until the FOMC minutes are published in just a few. Tomorrow we have trade balance, unemployment claims. That'll be a big one for the Fed. Philly Fed manufacturing index, pending home sales, and core PCE. Here we go. Core PCE on Friday. That's a biggie. Graph. The graph's hard to digest. Personal income, personal spending, flash manufacturing, new home sales, revised. We live in a clown world. All these revised numbers. Why? It seems like we just shouldn't trust any of the numbers we get anymore. I don't know how the Fed's going to operate. They don't have data from months. The data seems weird. I assume they've verified the data themselves. I don't know how. Let me pull up the minutes. Got them pulled up ready. We got a few minutes here. How y'all doing today? How you doing today? All right, we have 5 minutes. 5 minutes of free time. What should we do? First thing we should do. I'm going to refresh the chat. I'm going to see what you guys are talking about. But first things first. Please hit the like button, subscribe, share out the stream, chat. I don't have a poll going. Engage with the live stream. The algorithm is brutal here on YouTube over the last, I don't know, like 2 weeks. Help this stream get a little more momentum by engaging with it. Say hello. What are you doing? Where's the EDM music, bro? I mean, it's everywhere, my friend. I'm not going to have it on for right now because we're going to do the minutes and I'm going to be talking a lot. Going to be a brick wall of talking. How's it going, Funny Colors? Wait for the shakeout. That's what I'm doing. It feels almost too obvious, but this whole thing has been almost too obvious. Going to look for some kind of shakeout, some kind of break to this pattern. Everyone's looking at the bear flag. Going to look for a fake break to the upside or a fake break to the downside. I'm not going to take any fucking position on it right now. 3-day death cross on Bitcoin. That's interesting. 3-day death cross. It's triple the death. I wouldn't get too worried. Let's see. Coming. It's definitely coming. I wonder. Wow. It just looks exactly, my lord. What if this bear market is exactly the same? It looks almost exactly the same as this. Like price found support, rejected it, crossed immediately after, kind of held this shelf. There we go. It didn't hold this cleanly, but it's like falls from here. It's going to be right after. What if it just is a repeat? Just completely the same. That would be a good thing because then we could all be really rich because we would know what's going to happen. We can all bet on it. Shitty part about last bear market is there's just like very little bounce. There's very little opportunity past, Q1 of 22, too short. Like if you were shorting past then, you were really shorting down. Very rarely did you get a bounce of any measure to kind of fill. A few years of chop. Well, if all of history rhymes, we just have this year of crap, and then next year we start anew, like a butterfly emerging. We'll see. Pump loading. I want to pump. Bump and run. Pump City. Broadcast. Where is the bump and run? Where are we pumping and rumping and dumping? And I want it. I need it in my life. I need the green. Yeah, that's definitely going to be. That's going to be coming in probably the very start of March. When did this happen last time? May. 2 months behind. Kind of is like 2 months behind. That would mean August, September-y, bottom, I don't know, 2 months behind, something like that. Please give Tom better time. Thank you, Muhammad. I appreciate you, man. What's up, USMC? This will fake out. Bears are hungry. I guess. I don't know. Are they? Like, I mean, they're in control, but are they hungry? Typically you get bears because of the bull cycle. Like the bull cycle brings these people in and they buy the top and then they either kind of stay in denial or whatever. They get burned and then they become a bear. It's weird to think that there would be kind of that same bearish appetite. Anything, I guess, is possible, but it's weird to think it because it's like, where did they come from? People who, without that kind of origin story, where would they, people just joining crypto and being like, I'm just going to short it. I don't know. Usually it's personal. It's like a weird thing. All right, we got 1 minute for the notes. Where are the bears coming from? There's really no bulls or bears. It's just, we're all just getting wrecked. Can anyone share the Fed live links? Wish Windy. Right here, brother. There is no live or link. This is it. What's up, Signal? I just caught this. The first subscriber of the stream, Mr. Signal. How are you? No signal. Probably can't even hear me. Can we talk about the threat of quantum computing? Screw you, McPooch. Why are people so obsessed with it? Why are you so obsessed with quantum? I know you're not. 42 to 49K possible? Yeah, absolutely. Possible today? Probably not. Possible into the end of the year? Looking very likely, especially if nothing changes for crypto. You know what I mean? Like if there's no catalyst of some kind, or I don't know, sentiment change, I don't think that'd even matter. But without the chart changing, let's put it that way, without the chart showing us something, it seems like a weird bet. You is agreeing. I got you. It is weird. It's strange. There's just nothing. I sound emotional. Okay. What am I emotional about? Of course I'm emotional. I'm a human. We all are human. Except for the bots, the clankers, but we hate them. Clear direction of the cuts are going to happen next. Well, we do. The Fed has been very open about the cut. Like the dot plot has not been absolutely perfect, but it's been like 90% what the Fed's done. So we do have a clear path. We do know largely with like 90% confidence that the Fed's going to look for one cut this year. That's without anything changing. Obviously, if there's black swans, if there's big economic changes in the world, that too will change. But for the most part, we're looking for like 125 cut, maybe 225 cuts this year. UST dominance, dude, I know. It's not good. Looked at it on Monday and I said, dude, this is nailing the cut. Like, this is just so bad. It's doing the exact same thing. The only saving grace, I said, is like, man, we're so kind of advanced already. You know, we're almost back to the previous bear market high on tether dominance, which is remarkable to think. Like November 22, the bear market bottom hit 9.5%. We've already hit 9% in February. So I think we're going to look for all-time high on tether dominance. It's possible before the end of this month. Of course, that would almost certainly be accompanied with Bitcoin crashing, moving lower, you know, trading down a leg. The FOMC should be out, yeah. Hold up. The minutes should be out. I don't know why they aren't popping up. Let's see. Statement. Where are you? Why is this one harder to find? Why? Is this different? Is this not like a full notes like they usually do? What is happening? I'm seeing like FOMC statement. But that statement was already out, I'm pretty sure. Meetings, calendars, and minutes. Statement. Oh, here it is. It took, maybe my cache didn't reset. I got it pulled up. Here we are. Pull this up. There we go. We found it. So these are rather dry. We have 18 pages from the Fed. A lot of it is also like, it becomes redundant. There's There's a lot. Cool. I probably only showed you like my social security. No, I'm just kidding. I thought that was like some very private documents, but I guess not. What's up, 𝐕 How you doing, man? I saved this, but hold up. Yep. Okay. There it is. All right, we're gonna get these going, so they can be very dry. So we're gonna have our buddy 𝐸𝐸 do a little bit of the summarizing for us. Super 𝐸𝐸. We should take bets. How long do you think it'll be until Elon renames it to like mega super, like one ups himself, like from 𝐸𝐸 to super 𝐸𝐸 to like uber 𝐸𝐸? Maybe it'll be uber 𝐸𝐸 next. That'd be cool. Summarize. Yeah, let's see. Thinking about my request. Thank you, 𝐸𝐸. Annual organizational matters. The meeting reported that advances of the election of the following members and alternative members for a term beginning January 26. The elected members and alternative members were as follows: John C. Williams, Anna Paulson, Beth Hammock, Lori Logan, Neil Karklashi. Selected to serve until... This isn't on it every time. Voting on stuff. There we go. Developments in financial markets. This is the juicies. This just came out right now. Getting the inside scoop on the FOMC from January. Hope you're enjoying your day. Thank you, Casper. Hope you're enjoying your day. Is he not talking today? Today's the minutes. So the minutes is not a live speech. The minutes or the live speech is by me during it. These are the behind the scenes notes, inspirations, motivational factors, whatever. Basically all of the info that the Fed had in the last meeting and they made their decisions based on. So oftentimes we will get just a little bit, maybe more in their reasoning, a little bit more of what they're expecting in the next meeting. They are not always the most exceptional things, but there's usually something. We always walk away with at least a little extra tidbit. Why didn't anything happen? It happened when? Happened now? I think it all already happened. Everything's already happened, and now nothing happens. Isn't that how it works? Everything's happened, and nothing ever happens now. Okay. It was a unanimous vote to hold. Oh, I guess it was unanimous. I thought there was 2 dissenters. This is why AI sucks. Unanimous vote to hold the federal funds rate. No, there wasn't. So there were 2 dissenters. I think it was Waller preferred a 25 BPS cut. And I don't remember what the other one did. Voting for the hold. Ooh, we get to see the voters. Powell, Williams, Barr, Bowman, Cook, Hackman, Jefferson, Kashkari, Logan, and Paulson. 10-2. New in the minutes. This is not a statement or something Powell said. The exact names of the 2 dissenters. Okay, interesting. There we go. You can see who dissented and the full list of the members. Once who voted, although it doesn't include it, just says Oh no, Mirren and Waller. Interesting. Now we can go get him. The 2026 FOMC composition and rotating presidents confirmed. That's what we kind of were going through in the beginning. I don't know those people well enough to like make any comment on them. Powell reelected chair, Williams vice chair as organizational matters. What? Federal Reserve Bank of New York continues SOMA operator. Minor updates to domestic open market operations, all standard policies, nothing interesting. Okay, so finally, developments in financial markets and open market operations. Participants still expect 1 to 2, and this is what the dot plot says, so there's reason to expect it, 25 BPS cuts in 2026. Real GDP growth forecast marked up. Inflation, unemployment expectations, little change since the prior meeting in December. Treasury yields. Short and stable, long end up, slightly steepening, a few BP. Inflation compensation declined, lower than expected CPI, lower energy prices, lower than anticipated tariff pass-through. You know, that was probably the biggest thing, I want to say, mostly because there just wasn't a lot of big things at the last meeting, was that the Fed said that the tariffs didn't have the same, I guess the tariffs didn't have or haven't had the same effect that they were expecting. We also haven't heard much talk about tariffs lately, have we? I feel like the tariff rhetoric crashed. The start of 25, it was like every day someone was getting tariffed. And I think we still have heard of like a few things, new tariffs or threats of tariffs or whatever. I can't keep up, even in this month, but it does seem like that rhetoric has kind of unwound. Equity markets, the S&P up 5%. Ex big tech, cyclicals and small caps outperformed. Big tech underperformed on valuation and CAPEX concerns. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac portfolio expansion announcement. MBS yields fell versus Treasury, but no material refinancing expected. Current mortgage rates still far above outstanding loans. The dollar expected depreciation moderated. So the expectation of the dollar falling moderated, and I guess the dollar got the memo. The dollar also in a bear flag here, which is interesting. Bitcoin and the dollar both fell and are now in a similar lower high, higher low pattern. But the dollar, I guess, got the memo as it is trading back up. I thought the dollar was absolutely going to fall off a cliff back here at the end of January, and it, of course, in typical dollar fashion, refuses to ever do anything that it looks like it's going to do on a chart. I don't know why. Late period drop after desk rate checks on USD JPY, done only as fiscal agent for Treasury. Money markets, year-end pressures much milder than expected thanks to reserve management purchases, RMPs. Lower TGA, standing repo changes, and central clearing. Balance sheet, so you're talking about quantitative easing and tightening. There it is. Reserves projected to rise until early April, then drop sharply with tax season. Bottoming near year-end levels, expected to fluctuate around $3 trillion after. Reserves expected to rise until early April. So they expect quantitative easing until early April. The balance sheet to expand and then drop sharply with tax season. Bottoming near year-end levels and then expected to fluctuate $3 trillion after. That is, I don't remember him saying anything kind of similar to that. So back to like January open, basically after tax season. Why is that, chat? Why would tax season change the balance sheet? Standing repo facility changes, increased utilization, removal of aggregate cap, and clear communications. These notes are their notes. There wasn't that much to note on. The staff review of economic policy or economic situation. Real GDP solid in Q3 25, slowed in 24. Government shutdown subtracted about 1 pp. pp. Unemployment steady at 4.4%. Payrolls turned negative in Q4. Large drop in government employment from end of deferred resignation program. That's those Doge cuts coming on in. Average hourly earnings 3.8% year over year. Something tells me I don't believe that. PCE inflation in November up 2.8% from 2.6% year over year. Staff estimated 2.9% in December. Still near those 3% numbers, not what the Fed wants. The Fed wants 2%. Core PCE 2.8%, down from 3% in November. So PCE went up, core PCE went down. Core good inflations rose, explicably attributed to tariffs. Core services disinflating, especially housing. I did see that in January, houses were, was it new houses, new homes? Prices were down like 10%, which was maybe the first time they'd moved down in many, many years. So that's some disinflation. That's a driving factor. Tariffs are hurting Canada and Mexico manufacturing. AI boom boosting some Asian exports. China supported by non-U.S. exports. Grok really summarizes these quick, very briefly. But at the same time, we all watched this, and there wasn't that much to summarize. So probably good. Staff financial situation. Credit conditions eased slightly, SLOOS. Issuance strong in bonds, private credit, munis bank loans moderate. Credit performance, corporate leveraged loan defaults down, but small business CMBS, credit card, and auto delinquencies remained elevated versus pre-pandemic. And I believe delinquencies, auto delinquencies in the U.S. were at all-time high in January. Interesting. Also, Google coming out with that 100-year debt bond. Something's going on. Financial vulnerabilities characterized as notable. Asset valuations elevated. PE ratios at the upper end of history, driven by tech AI earnings. Non-financial debt was moderate. Financial sector leverage was notable, high at hedge funds and life insurers. Banks well capitalized, but market adjusted ratios depressed. Aren't we all market adjusted ratios right now? Funding risks moderate. Stablecoin market cap grew, but still small. So there was something about stablecoins in the notes. Let's look up stablecoins in the notes. Stablecoins, here it is. Vulnerabilities associated with funding risks were characterized as moderate. The total amount of short-run funding instruments and cash management vehicles as a fraction of GDP remained in the middle of its historic range. Uninsured deposits at banks were likewise within historical norms, and funding risks associated with non-traditional short-term liabilities at life insurance companies were low. The total market capitalization of stablecoins, some of which may be vulnerable to runs, grew significantly in the past 2 years, but remained low relative to other funding instruments. That is an interesting thing to just have at the end of this. There's just like one long sentence about it. Interesting. Stablecoins is always the talk when it comes to crypto now. Government only cares about the stablecoins. They don't care about our Bitcoins. Okay, so verified that actually was in there. Staff economic outlook. Real GDP growth upgraded. Expected to outpace potential through 2028 as tariff drag fades and fiscal conditions support spending. Unemployment projected to decline below the natural rate by the end of 2026 and stay there. Inflation slightly higher near term, but expected to return to disinflationary trend after mid-26. A lot of references to the tariff effects. But this is the first time in this, maybe, like I said, one of the bigger aspects of these notes and the FOMC is the Fed, I don't want to say stance towards tariffs, because their stance towards tariffs was always based in logic and math. But their expectations of how our specific tariffs currently were to play out was a big topic, and how they didn't meet expectations. They were less impactful than they expected. Uncertainty elevated, risks to growth and employment skewed to the downside, risks to inflation skewed to the upside. Uncertainty elevated for damn sure. Participants' views on current conditions and the economic outlook. I feel like we're almost done. No, we're more than halfway through. Let me see. FOMC fans of Mr. Crowd, thank you, sir. Glad you guys are here. I know it's a chillin' day. It's a chillin' time. It's not that spicy, but I appreciate you being here anyway. What's up, Alexandra? Philip, Novocaine, Ninja, Randy. They were completely wrong. They've been completely wrong before. They get things right. They get things wrong. What's up, Eulid? You are liquid at 65.4. Good game. Terror looks terribly bad. It looks terrible. That is true. There is very little argument to say otherwise. I wish there was. I love looking for it. Capo is bullish. VW? God, no. Please don't let Capo be bullish. These are the FOMC minutes. That is correct. Thank you, Crispy. What's up, man? Andric, Everlasting Duty. There's oil in the North Sea. Go. Fear of missing crown. That's funny. Who I miss? I'm just going to refresh it. We're almost done. We're like more than halfway through. Is he talking today, Jeremiah? We are going through the notes. So basically, we're getting the background info, the behind the closed doors discussions from the last FOMC in January. So far, to update just anybody tuning in, the FOMC in January was relatively dry and not exciting in general. Price action wasn't exciting. There was a pause to the cutting cycle, and basically what they said wasn't exciting. And even the questions from the reporters were not exciting. They were largely about Powell, or Chair Powell. Chair Powell, God, I'm going to miss saying that. And like basically what he plans to do after May. There was not a lot that went into this. So there isn't a lot in the notes, but there is one factor I think that's standing out so far. We're about halfway through. That is important. And it is the acknowledgement, I'll say, acknowledgement may be the word, or at least an update on how tariffs have impacted the economy, and basically saying that they didn't meet the expectations that they had, in the sense of their impacts weren't as great as initially expected. That's the biggest takeaway so far. Okay, participants' view on current conditions. On inflation, elevated readings largely due to core goods. And then it'll just go slap us with a freaking sentence like that. Elevated readings largely due to core goods, boosted by tariffs. Like, come on now. All right, core services disinflation continues in housing. This is another maybe key thing, talking about housing disinflation. And we did see that in January. Many expect tariffs effects to start diminishing this year, mid-26. Several participants highlighted higher productivity growth, AI tech regulatory changes as downward forces. Business contacts reported automation to offset costs. Great. We keep talking about automation and AI and then jobs. And it seems like we talk about them often as if they're not conflicting. We're getting rid of jobs for humans. Counter view. Some contacts planning price increases. Sustained demand could keep inflation sticky. Some contacts planning price increases. What? Grok, you're doing a bad job. Longer-term expectations remain well anchored, and near-term expectations declined, and that is for inflation. They did say that a few times, that near-term inflation expectations were declining. Labor market is showing signs of stabilization after gradual cooling. Hiring is low, but layoffs are also low. Contacts cautious, uncertainty, AI automation, and lower net immigration. Downside risks to labor diminished, but were still present. A low hiring environment could amplify shocks. Growth was a solid pace, resilient consumer spending, the wealth effect, strong business investment, especially in tech and AI. The expectation for 26 is solid growth supported by financial conditions, fiscal policy, regulatory changes, and productivity. Financial stability, concerns about the AI sector concentration, elevated valuations, private credit risks, hedge fund leverage, and treasury footprint among weakness in low middle income households. Yeah, low middle income households, most people. Weakness, not great. Policy discussion. Almost all saw the current stance within the neutral range after 75 BPS easing in 25. Two dissenters viewed it as still restrictive. The future path is, of course, data-driven and meeting by meeting. Several wanted two-sided language, possible hikes if inflation stays high. Ooh. We have talked about that. We've talked about that here. So several participants wanted two-sided language, meaning to just put this in the FOMC that if inflation remains high, that there is a possibility of hikes. Interesting. That would have spooked markets a little bit. The risk balance improved. Labor downside risks moderated. Inflation persistence risk remains. Inflation persistent risk remains. Caution that further easing while inflation elevated could be misinterpreted as weaker 2% commitment. This is the worst Grok has ever done with it. I honestly think, though, it's because the notes themselves are probably like really repetitive. I don't think that there's that much in it. Changes versus December. They removed the phrase relative to readings from earlier last year for inflation. They added explicit some signs of stabilization for unemployment and strong commitment in the strong commitment paragraph. What the minutes have revealed. So really, there's a lot of it's been nothing. We have tariffs. AI automation. I don't remember the other one now, but a few kind of minor points. But what do these minutes reveal that perhaps wasn't revealed in the FOMC? The highlight, okay, it starts with tariffs pass through has been milder than expected. That is the big one. That the government shutdown created significant data distortions in 2025. Surprising no one, but still in the notes, but not as much in the FOMC. Staff and many of the participants are more optimistic on growth and productivity than they were, I guess, at the end of 25. Financial stability concerns are elevated, especially around AI concentration, private credit, and hedge funds. The two dissenters were named. I guess that's the big news. Mirren and Waller. Get 'em, boys. The committee is not rushing to cut further and is actively discussing the possibility of hikes if needed. That's actually at the very end here. The last second, a buzzer beater. Maybe the biggest part of all of this is that they didn't say this during the meeting, but that if inflation persists, they are looking at the possibility of hikes. And of course they are. That is what they do. That's their tool for managing inflation. When inflation is under control, they move the interest rate down. And when inflation is not under control and is increasing, they increase the interest rate. They've been kind of cutting into really dubious cooling inflation, in my opinion, especially when they've noted that the data distortions at the end of 25 were significant. I mean, they're cutting into, very reasonably inflation not cooling. I don't. So hikes on the table, tariffs impacts less than expected. That's about it. That's not so bad. They held the rate steady. Duh. Anything else? Nope. That's it. That's all of them. We did it. We got through all of the notes, the whole minutes, all the minutes. We did it. Huzzah. All right. Now that we've done it, we can do other stuff. Let me refresh the chat. Maybe I'll even put on some tunes. What are we looking at? What the hell's going on today? What the hell's going on? I have been mentally occupied with, I have to find a place to move to by April 1st. And I checked out a really awesome place that I really wanted. I told you guys it was the penthouse. And when I say penthouse, it's just the top floor of a thing. The third floor. Don't run away with it. Awesome. Loved it. It did say no pets, right? Beans is an ESA, so she's not technically a pet. But it said no pets, so going into it, I was like, man, I'm not going to get it. But I'll just be optimistic. I'll see where this goes. When I get there, the occupants have a dog. So I'm like, oh, I'm good. Maybe it's an ESA. Or maybe they just don't care about, they don't care about pets. So then I got my brain back on to being like, I really want this place. And they won't rent. They won't rent to me because of Beans. So they can F themselves. Go F yourselves. If you're listening to this, you know who you are. Go F yourself. So that's stressful. I haven't been watching the markets quite as closely, but they also haven't been moving quite as much. So that's good. Thanks to everyone who bought your bags at 117K. Man, I don't know how many people in here were doing that, but hell yeah, my friend. Good job. Good job. You did it. King for the next few weeks is $1 probably. What's up, BCN? Who else is here? What's up, Paul? How are shutdowns even allowed, bro? This is wild to me that the government can just shut down. That they just, I don't know. I guess it's the same as everything. Is who's going to do anything about it? The government. It's becoming really. Am I forgetting Iran? I'm not forgetting Iran. It's just not part of the minutes of last month. They didn't know about it last month, I guess. What was it? You got me distracted. Shutdowns. No, I had some good. What did I say about Trueflation, Vandal? Trueflation has always been. Trueflation has largely said inflation is very low all the time. I don't know. It's so difficult to actually make a judgment when you look at a whole country and say, what are the prices of goods? All we can really do is look at our own lives and kind of feel it out, right? That's it. It's very hard to do anything else other than that. And I think it is reasonable to say that everyone here would disagree with inflation being like virtually zero. I think most people here would agree that inflation is likely way higher than any of the measurements we've heard, like period. In my experience, man, everything is just costing so much more so quickly. Has it slowed down? It's hard to even tell because, things have like really exploded in price over the last 5 years, maybe. It's hard to put a finger on it. Maybe COVID time, maybe post 21, but all these measurements, they're just different little calculations and formulas. I would really find it hard to trust something that is saying inflation is like almost zero, right? And I'm familiar with Trueflation. There definitely has been times where we've looked at this and times where, can you not just like open up Trueflation anymore? You have to pay for it. Really? I can't just open up Trueflation whatever.com anymore. That's silly. It's just, I don't think anyone can in good faith be like, yeah, I think inflation is zero. I don't think things are getting more expensive. I don't know. That's what it is. Why does Conor McGregor look like me? Because we're both very Irish, probably. Must be a good looking dude. Such a flex with the ladies. It is a flex to live at the top floor or something. Did I break down the Fed minutes? I did, Michael. I'm glad you're here. You're welcome to rewind and go through them. For those of you jumping in, they weren't huge. They were about the same as the FOMC in January. It was very calm. Not a lot was said. The biggest mix-ups were definitely tariffs impacts they weren't as much. I'm trying to struggling the wording here. They weren't as severe as they initially expected, or they haven't been so far. That's probably the biggest. The second biggest would be that the Fed is, and this is logical, we know this to be true, but the fact that it's in the wording, in the notes, is important. That if inflation persists, they will look at hikes. We know this. That's their job. That's what they do. That's the tool they use to fight inflation. But just putting it in the wording is important and is meaningful, because it has not been. Other than that, there's not a lot. I guess they named the two dissenters, Waller and whoever. Nobody cares. It's not a big deal. That's it. So we did go through them. YouTube didn't notify me. Nimoy, I don't know. YouTube was weird today. YouTube's been weird. What time is the Fed minutes, Sergio? We already did them. It was at 2 p.m. He came out. We started it. If you go back to 35 minutes ago, maybe 30 minutes ago on the stream, I think DVR is enabled. You can catch that again. Appreciate you, Paul. Shutdown is coming. Read research. What does that mean? I don't know what that means, math. Come to South Africa. I've never been there. Appreciate the invite. You blew a new account today after 3 weeks of discipline, Delta. Isn't it crazy how all trading is? It's just just the most difficult thing for humans. We are so hamstringed by it. You can do something and it's working and it's awesome. Yeah. You're being consistent. You're doing the same things. It's working. And then you just randomly one day you have a different mood. I don't know. Your greed gets a little big. Your eyes get a little big. And you're like, I'm just going to throw that all out the window. I'm going to go back to what has never worked. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take on a bunch of risk, and you just throw away a bunch of money. We all do it. I do it too. I think growing as a trader is fighting that and having it happen less. But I think everyone still wakes up in a weird mood, in a weird emotional state from time to time. And that's when we make mistakes. Being able to identify that, maybe that'd be a cool AI thing. Here we go. Here's $1 billion idea, AI tech bros out there. From Tom Crown, give me a little cut. You can take my idea, just give me a cut. So an AI that you interface with, I guess, daily, right? You have to do it when you have to be daily. Or it could be gated for when you start trading. That basically, I don't know, asks you a few questions and you just answer them, right? But the AI is trying to judge based on all of your answers and whatever its database, your emotional state that day. And it's basically just looking for days where it doesn't have to be oh no, you're really emotional today. That's not the goal. Even the goal is broader. It's you're not in your typical emotional state. So it doesn't have to even identify what it is, just that you're just off, right? And then maybe it locks you out of your trades, locks you out of your portfolio. That's actually a pretty good idea. I think AI would do good with that. You guys know I criticize AI, or at least large language models, generously, because they're kind of shitty at a lot of this. They're shitty at most stuff. But I think that's something it could be good at, looking at your own answers and kind of reading your mental state for that day. I think that could save people money. Nimoy, inflation is closer to 5 to 10% a year. Absolutely. That's what I think. You're getting ready to sell your house. You're going to be moving for Hoofty. I'm sorry to hear that, dude. I hate moving. Your food is 2 times your wage, literally the same. AMVSD, exactly. We're talking about inflation. Someone asked about trueflation, saying inflation is maybe only close to 1%. And I said, well, it's really difficult. How do we get that data? A lot of what we either have to trust the sources. I don't think that's it doesn't seem like a good bet. They've never really felt great. Trust the sources, or we just have to go on our own experience. And I think virtually everyone here would agree that inflation is not near zero. And I would think almost everybody would agree that inflation is probably not near 2 or 3% either. The price of everything just keeps going. It just keeps going up. It keeps going up, and it is unrelenting. And to say 1%, I don't know, man. I feel like it's hard to put a number on it. But just the cost of everything I do every time I do it, I'm like, wow, I can't believe it's even like it's gone up that much since whatever. Like I can't leave my house without spending $100, and now that's already kind of moving into the realm of like $125, and I'm talking about like anything. It's crazy. Go hiking, that's about it. Oh, it's free if I log in with Google. I don't want to log in right now. Aren't there interviews? No, there's no interviews. Building wealth, but welcome. Yeah, it's the FOMC minutes. So the FOMC, the Federal Open Market Committee, happened in January. Happens again in March, right? Happens again in March. We'll cover it in March. But 2 weeks-ish after the FOMC, they released the notes, which are, it's a weird word, but the notes are basically, or no, they released the minutes, which are their notes. It's like kind of the bigger picture of info that they have going into that meeting, kind of behind the scenes info. So no, there's no live speech. There's no interviews or anything like that. And we did go through it. There wasn't that much. You're welcome to go back and look though. 1 hour. Thank you, Pooch. I appreciate that. Appreciate that 1 hour. That's actually really helpful. I lose track of time. Investing in your pantry. Dude, my food is so expensive. It's insane. YouTube is wake. Profound. Food has doubled in 2 years. Exactly. Like, I feel like food has, I don't know if it's doubled, but man, it has gone up so much. Nothing is cheaper. Look at like the price of computer parts. Computer parts have literally doubled in 6 months. I'm talking about RAM mostly. Those are fundamental pieces of everything we do. That increase in price is going to trickle down. It's funny how the trickle down system only ever works when it's shit trickles down. Bad stuff trickles down. Good stuff does not trickle. It gets caught. It's never the good stuff, but that is going to increase the price of like everything. Every electronic component, like AI data centers are competing with everybody now. And they're also, think of it this way, AI hopefully is disinflationary in the big picture over time, but AI in the short term is like definitely not disinflationary in any way. AI is taking up, it's looking or just consuming electronics, and then it's consuming energy, and like those two things, especially energy, are just like the basis of inflation. I don't know. You did it today, Dzok? Yeah. What did you do, my friend Dezix? Give me a chart. Oh my god, how long has that not been up? Oh wow, my bad guys. I'm just talking in a void. Don't even have a chart. I was looking at it, I was like messing with it. I'm glad I read that. Thank you, brother. The psychology is you tried to beat the AI with your answers, Charlo. Well, yeah, well, I still like this idea, right? But if you're trying to beat it, that should kind of be off the normalized path of your mental state. And that's why I said it doesn't have to flag you as like being sad or angry or emotional. It's just flagging you to be not your normal self. So if you're trying to game it, those answers probably are different than you. Like you gaming it is a sign that you are not your normal state, right? That's the $1 billion idea. Just send me like a few milli. It's cool. What's up, Goss? Kit. Who else is here? Who else is here? Who is here? Astrum, Bob, Building Wealth, Crispy, DK, Dark, David B, EU, Goss, GRT with Hype. Jeez, I feel you. J Ross, Juan, Kellen Star, Kelly Kellum. What's up, Kelly? How you doing, bro? Good to see you. Dark times in this line of work. What's up, Logesh, Matthew Will, McPooch, Michael Anthony, M4th, Novocaine, Randy, Rossix, Sean, Toby Boy, Verhoofty, Wigan, Z-Kit. It's a chilling day. Not a very spicy day. Yeah, it locks you out and sends your crypto to another wallet and loses the keys. All right, Juan, I like that idea. It could just send your crypto to me and I'll take care of it. If you're worried about losing all your money in your crypto, guys, just send it to me. I'm not going to give it back to you, but like that way you know where it is, right? I'll keep it safe from everyone. Bitcoin will take out the bear market low soon, probably. Bitcoin is deflating. The one thing that is deflating, Bitcoin's price. Womp womp. Good or bad FOMC? It was very neutral. The FOMC was extremely neutral, and nothing happened. Like neutral because it was honestly a nothing burger. I'll say it. I never like to say it, but January's FOMC was a nothing burger. Bitcoin is bleeding. Food is no longer included in inflation data. So that is what I was saying, guys, is you know, what do? You trust the numbers that come out of these sources now? And the answer is like, no. Like, maybe they've always been bad. I'm not saying like that's necessarily new, but like it's never been so obvious that they're wrong. And to exclude food from the inflation calculation is like an obvious is just like an obvious manipulation. Food is, it's just like, nah, you don't really need food, so maybe we shouldn't calculate it in. You know what's gonna have in right here, you know, we're just shooting the shit here. You know what's gonna have an impact on inflation that I don't know if I've ever heard anyone talk about? Unfortunately, it won't be a short-term impact, but in the next, I don't know, in 10 years, 5-10 years, like in our lifetimes, I think we'll have a measurable impact on not just inflation, but just especially U.S. economies. Ozempic. Yeah. Ozempic is about to rip through some industries. Just wait till they start mass producing Ozempic, like mass producing, and the cost comes down, and they start prescribing Ozempic to just every overweight or obese person in the United States. That is going to transform the healthcare industry. It's going to transform the food industry. You're going to see like a lot of processed shit go out of business. I largely think it's a good thing. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't really need it, but maybe I'll take it. Maybe I'd do it. But I think it's a good thing. I think you're going to put out a lot of bad food, and you guys have heard me complain on this channel for years that in the US we eat exclusively poison. Our food is not food that they would eat like almost anywhere else in the world. Obviously starving countries would eat it, but like it is poison. We eat processed garbage that other countries will not serve as food. And that food is highly addictive. And I think it is a massive contributor to obesity and overweight, just in general, bad health in the United States. I think it's a good thing, but just kind of a little side note there. I don't think people have talked about that, but it's going to transform a lot of industry. I don't know how long it'll take, but I just noticed that Bitcoin versus gold, I don't think I saw this, is actually all the way back to June's low, 23. It is not that far from bear market lows. Only about a 33% drop, and it's all the way back to December of 22. That's bonkers. That's bonkers. Food is a rip-off? Yeah, it is. And it's terrible for you. Anytime, if you live in the United States, anytime you travel abroad, if you haven't traveled, you wouldn't get it. You're probably like, what do you mean the food's poison? Anytime I go to another country and I eat the food there for like a few days or a week, my gut, my brain, my guts just start feeling so much better. Like so much, like I don't feel as foggy. I feel like I have more energy. I don't feel like as sore. And then the minute I go home, within 24 hours, I feel like shit again. Like it is day and night. It is undeniable. I don't care what anyone says. Our food is poison. Taco Bell definitely trickles down. $300 for 64 gigs of RAM 2 years ago. Now it's $1,500. Yeah. And it was probably $700. It was probably like $700 like 6 months ago. It's already old and outdated if it's 2 weeks ago. So these notes, yeah, of course the information will be old or outdated because these notes are about the meeting. Yes. They're about the meeting. So they're going to be outdated, of course. Dude, how can this keep going down? This absolutely looks like it has to have a rip. How does the Bitcoin gold chart go down more? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months of red. Down 65%. That's crazy. So back, baby. Dude, I keep trying to read the chat and then I'm really bad at it. What's up, BTC Amir? So I go back home? Because I don't have citizenship elsewhere. Bread should not last more than a week. Zach Martin. Yeah, bread does not surprise. Bread does not last a week. Bread, honestly, if you make bread at home, you ever made bread at home? It's very easy and cheap. Bread turns out banging. That bread will go bad, honestly, in like 2 days. It goes bad so fast. It will get mold. Yeah. Bread does not last a week. Food is not supposed to last a week. It's not supposed to last forever. Yeah, dude, Zach, even the real food in the United States stocks. That's what I'm saying. Is like you can't, and I spend a ton of money on food. Like I buy organic food and stuff. I spend a ton of money on it, and it doesn't matter. Like even our like organic stuff it's not the same, especially when it comes to flour. I do not F with US flour. US flour, I don't know what it is, but it is bad. Your mom has a gluten allergy but can eat European wheat. Yeah. It's, you know what it is, War, and I have this suspicion and that many people suffer from this, is it's not actually like gluten. It's not gluten as a big picture. It's something else. Like it's something we do to our gluten, or like there's something else in it. Stop eating preservative foods. Good luck. Good luck, bro. You don't have a choice. Grow your own food. Do it, crypto. Do it, crypto shaped. That'd be dope. I mean, I have, and I do. Every year we grow some food, but like, you can't get away from all of it. I complain eating unhealthy food when you literally eating fast food. What am I eating fast food right now? I wish I was. I want some fast food. Bifinex shorts. Bifinex maybe just a dying platform. Healthier living in Australia, dude. Just go to another country and eat food for a while. You'll see. Everything is poison, Bob, in the US. Dude, yeah, you're not wrong. The food, the air, the medicine. We're effed. Price of RAM is a good example of supply and demand. Now, when you're worried about the Bitcoin price. I love that optimism, Kelly. I love that. I love it. The hell's, I have all these old charts. Seller. You guys remember this one? Chili's. Whatever happened to these coins? Are people still buying these? I don't believe that people are still buying any of these things. There's been a million of them. Not this one specifically. Just a million of these like coins that had like a little fever to them for a while. Who's buying them? That one doesn't exist, whatever it is. That one doesn't exist. Crow. I haven't checked in on Crow. It hit 6 cents this month. That is an ugly low. That is a really ugly low. All of these still, when you go on the monthly time frame, it is so hard to imagine these charts not bouncing. Like they have had half a year of just red. Not even a green candle snuck in between. But then you think, okay, yeah, they'll bounce. But like, what does that mean? Like, come up here, put in a lower high, and continue their descent to hell. That's probably what it is. Pirate. I don't have any thoughts on it. IRID licenses. What? Trinity, what are you talking about? Go ketogenic or carnivore. You can do whatever you want, man, but I'm telling you, in the US, you can't get it. It doesn't matter where you run. It doesn't matter. You can do better. I'm not saying that everyone is, doomed the same way. The more you spend on your food, it turns out better in the US. But what I'm saying is you can't buy. The US is we don't have. It's just not available. And it maybe is reasonably because real food that I'm talking about, that we don't do in the United States, doesn't survive the shipping to the United States. Like it doesn't survive the boat ride, right? Because it goes bad. Because food goes bad. 8% of people have intolerance to gluten. What's up, Ninja Girl? I don't doubt it, but I really do believe. Oh, Binance delisted Digibyte. You screw you, Binance. I really do believe that many of those people who suffer, not all of them, their bodies are reacting to something else, whether it's like specifically, I don't know, gluten from, because it's been modified, or processing of gluten, something. Because I've heard many people, now if you have celiacs, that's different, but I've heard many people going to other countries and being fine eating bread, eating gluten. Obviously celiacs is a whole different beast. Doge BTC, DOT BTC, look at these charts, man. They're brutal. Exactly 10, 15 years ago, there was a wave of people being allergic to gluten. Yeah. Learn how to hunt fish. Well, Zach, learn how to hunt fish. You aren't getting away from this problem in the United States either. What do you think the fish are eating? What do you think the animals are eating? It's something. Pesticides, yeah. I think it's pesticides element. It's among other things, just chemicals. Corn flour. I get flour from Italy. It's like Anna, ANNA. I don't know. Eating clean is easy. There's a difference. Man, maybe we're a health show now. A difference between eating clean and what we're talking about, though. Like, your macros could be very healthy in this discussion, but that's not what it's about. About DOT. You guys think DOT's ever going to do anything again? I think DOT will trade at least $2 again. This chart is cancer, bro. Remember when DOT was paying all those influencers? I really wish that I would have gotten some of that DOT money. Because at least then, like, I don't know, somebody would have made money off of this. Buy some Mexican flour. Yeah, I highly recommend. Just buy flour from a different country. There's a little shop near me that sells the Italian flour, like Anna or something. It has to be imported. You'll see. You'll see. Preservatives are preserving you. Yeah. Probably the healthy vaccines. God, we're so cooked. We're so cooked, America. It's not the poison in our food. It's the vaccines. Oh my God. Not going to get into it. Fruit in the U.S. doesn't taste real? No. No, neither do vegetables. It just tastes like water. Converted your link to dot to link. I agree, Zach. Any whitetail you've ever harvested is 1,000 times cleaner than beef. Yes, our beef. Other countries won't import our beef for a reason, my friends. Like it's like illegal in Europe to import U.S. beef. Like you can't get it, and it's not because they're jealous. I'm telling you, they're not jealous of our beef. Elon, do you remember what is this Dogelon? Dude, look at all these scams. This is just a great time in the cycle to like go back and remember all these things. I remember when people are yelling about these. Oh, go check the charts. Down 99%. ENJ. Man, this takes me back. ENJ. This also looks like shit though. ENJ looks like it's about to tank. Retesting low. It did trade to 0 in October on Binance, so it's not good. Probably not going to go lower than that. There's some silver lining. ETC, BTC. super expensive to eat healthy. Yep. Just to even eat healthy, just to eat non-processed shit. It's very expensive. I spent so much money. Stock market killed our food and CEOs got greedy. Absolutely. And then we deregulated it and we just allow them to, they profit off of our dishealth, off of our illness, off of our, yeah, I agree. That's like the weird argument, I'm all about capitalism, but then there's, just these things. It's like the things that people really need. How does that fit in? This did not last long. Proof of work, eth. How does that really fit in? Like healthcare, food, these things shouldn't, I don't know. Should we profit off of them? Because it seems like profiting off them is just like a net negative for us. I don't know. Harvest finance. 360 down to 11. Link. Is it still a thing? I don't know, dude. It still exists. Are any of these altcoins a thing anymore? That's the question. Are any of them still things? Were they ever things? Maybe is the question you have to ask. Were they ever things? This chart certainly looks like ass. It does look like ass. Man, Link has no support on the monthly time frame until $580, $6. That is a really brutal lower high. True, Bob. True. Yeah, like crony capitalism. Yeah, yes, completely. Absolutely. Head on, nailed it. And then you said that we've never seen real capitalism. Agreed. So, though people talk shit about capitalism, and you can say they shouldn't because it's not real capitalism. But if we've never have had capitalism, like, this is the capitalism we have. So, like, what are we supposed to do? It's like, it doesn't seem like real capitalism can like thrive because there's always this crony capitalism is always defeated by those with the resources and the wealth. It's something I'm grappling with in my adulthood. What is the answer? Yeah, Link is rough. Everything's rough. Maybe, here's a little hopium, like maybe 760 is support. Good luck, Link. Damn, Cass also in a bad boat. Glad I never really went into this. I definitely have a few $1,000s worth. That few $1,000s worth is definitely worth a few hundred now. I know I sold some of it at like 10 cents, but damn. It's not worth anything now, but all throughout this channel, I've told you guys, Bitcoin is the goal. Bitcoin, you get Bitcoin. People wanted to do anything except buy Bitcoin, and all I ever did was say, if you're new, you should have majority Bitcoin. You can get other stuff. We should have majority Bitcoin. I don't think anybody ever listened to me. Just understandable. I wouldn't listen to other people either. But damn did it age. That chart looks not good either. They all look primed for a bounce, but they just are forever bleeding, it seems. INJ, does this even have, do we even like have support on this at all? $1.27. Oh yeah, ASML. All right. I'm just like tabbing through stuff, seeing what pops up. You guys remember Grayscale? Remember Grayscale? Isn't that crazy? We used to talk about Grayscale all the time. And now nobody ever talks about grayscale. It just doesn't matter. It's totally irrelevant. Things change so quickly. Where's that? The one good chart. ASML. ASL? Question mark ASL. My AOL chatters will know. Ooh. Ooh. Poochie. You know what happens next. We didn't get a perfect back test. We didn't get a bump yet. I mean, it's still possible. We are below the all-time high. But I'll be damned. This is looking like it wants to move up again. Reapproaching all-time high, higher low. Send it. Where are we looking? $1,600, $1,660, $2,100. All reasonable. I do like this 2,000 range. I think 2,000 would be an awesome target for this. 3 eras all media. What about FTX? Yeah, what about those things? They all exploded. Grayscale though, we talked about like long before those things even. Well, I guess what about those is they don't exist anymore and Grayscale does. Yeah, that'd be the difference. Are we really doing nothing here? Just nothing is happening. How is nothing happening? Soul with the babiest of bounces. Barely even getting alerts now. There's like nothing going on. Amazon, tiny little bounce here. I mean, it's got some huge gaps to fill. Amazon has gone downhill. Amazon, I mean, I spend a lot of money on Amazon, don't get me wrong. But Amazon, there's things like I used to order anything off Amazon and it seems like every month there's like a new category of things I'll never order. Like I'll never order an appliance. I'll never order any furniture. Like, because I have, and it's a terrible experience. It's garbage. And there was a time where literally anything could just, anything be good. Costco's getting my business. All of my Amazon, everything I cut out of Amazon, Costco gets that business. Bullish on Costco. I don't even see many alerts. This is wild. The Grayscale have an ETF. And they're their own thing. I don't know. Maybe they have an ETF. Silver. We're going higher, Midwest picker? Where? When? How? Please. Perhaps cronyism is the inevitable outcome of capitalism. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It's the world doesn't function the way I thought it would. Dinner time, I could use some food. The only chart this morning is U.S. debt and uncertainty, I guess. Stay risky. What's up, El Cheeto? What's up, guys? I'm glad everybody tuned in today. This was chilling. It wasn't super exciting. Make sure you sign up with our exchange partners, by the way. BYDFi and FEMX in the video description below. No KYC if you're looking for a place to trade. Help me out. What's up, Ali Don? Bob Sai, you're still here. Love you, man. Catherine Elizabeth. How are you, Catherine? I knew a Catherine Elizabeth. I don't think you're the same one, but I've known one. What's up, Cesar? Who else is new here? New in the chat today. E-Tip, Frogumania, Hopium Copium. What's up, bro? Crunk, Senior X, Supra. Pooch is still here. Amazon Temu. If you order from Temu and then hit a crack pipe, it looks like the picture. I've never ordered anything from Temu, actually. as soon as when I learned about it, someone was like, yeah, it's like a gamble. Like, you don't really know what you're going to get. I was like, yeah, why would I think that was actually hope or wish that I'm talking about. And I was like, yeah, I'm never going to order from there. Why would I do that? I'm good. And I never did. And then I guess I thought that was Temu also, but fuck you, Temu. U.S. men's hockey is about to start. That seems like as good time as any, Johnny. We've been live about 2 hours. We did the FOMC minutes. They were not a lot. If you want to go back and watch the highlights of that, you can. Trump tariff impacts not as great as expected. That hiking is on the table if inflation persists. Something tells me inflation is going to persist unless we bullshit the data. And that's about it. The dissenting votes from the FOMC. Wasn't the biggest, wasn't the craziest, but that's okay. I'm glad we tuned in. Still was a good time. We'll definitely cover the FOMC in March. As always. Second to last ever for 𝐿. You should join our Discord, discord.gg/TomCrowell. It's free. If you sign up with our affiliates or exchange partners, you'll get VIP roles in that Discord. Very fancy deal for free. Make sure you've liked and subscribed. Check out our free trading course. It's a playlist on this channel. I have to publish, actually. Shit, I have to publish a new video. I should do that tomorrow. Keep your eyes peeled for a new video tomorrow on that course. And